Why are the Steelers in control in the AFC North? Well, because the Philadelphia Eagles get the win over the Ravens in the 425 game. Eagles 10-2. It was 24-19. Eagles move to 10-2. Ravens fall to 9-5. It's tough to talk about this game. Like, we X's and O's, and I thought this was a battle, and the running back matchup and the MVP stuff. But man, how much comes down to just Justin Tucker can't
8-5
kick. What did I say?
9-5.
Yeah, they're 8-5.
I was wondering how they were 9-5. That felt like too many games for this point in the season.
It's 8-5. Says it right there.
It does, yeah.
I wouldn't have said 9-5. I can read.
No, that would be crazy talk.
Eighth straight win for the Eagles. That's also
It's also on the screen there, yeah.
written right there. I mean, look, just to stupid kickers. Tucker.
Now we have to have our second kicker discussion.
Justin Tucker used to kick every kick square down the middle.
Yep.
Right?
And now when he tries to do that, they go wide left. So I tweeted. I was like, look.
Everything was, but like the first one that he hit, whatever it was, what was the first one that he hit? 34 yards. And it was like a little off center. And I'm like, I don't even trust his makes. I know they still count. They still count as 3. But he used to kick 55-yarders. And if it was like an inch to the right, it would be like a story. Right?
Right.
He would be good from 74 on his 55-yarder. And now it's like, it's like a little wobbly 34-yarder. Like, there might be time to just, like, this is affecting the Ravens season here.
Absolutely. I mean, he came out afterwards and said he felt responsible for the loss, and he kind of was. But I had a fix for him.
Not in your NFL.
I was like, look, everything's going left. We had that stat a couple of weeks ago, which was true. Is no longer true. Everything he'd missed had been wide left, right? Ben Stockwell gave us that stat. And I was like, look, it's simple. You're like a golfer with, just a consistent draw or a consistent fade slice. Just accept it and play for the slice, right? If I slice the ball 25 yards to the right of where I'm aiming every single time, what's the solution? Aim 25 yards left of where you're trying to hit instead of still persisting on trying to aim it right down the fairway and watching it go off wide right every single time, right? So I was like, just aim at the right upright. Aim at the right post, and you'll make it right down the middle. So it looked like he did that later in the game. That was the first time the ball just went exactly where he aimed. He's like, I'm going to aim it just to the right of the stick, and the ball went just to the right of the stick. And then he's like, oh, no. So then it was actually the make at the end where he makes it, and he's still shaking his head because it snuck in. He doesn't know anymore. Like, he's lost. At that point, he was like, I'm missing everything left. I tried to compensate. I missed right. Even the next make, it like didn't go where I was. I don't know what's wrong. Like, Justin Tucker right now, the greatest kicker of all time, is broken. And this tends to happen to every kicker, but it tends not to happen. Like, this is a very unusual situation. It either happens early in their career and they have to bounce back somewhere else, right? Because you only get a couple of weeks of this before a team's like, this is killing us. You're out of here. Or they play great and then they just lose the leg and then they just wind down. But he's now in this unique situation where he's been the best kicker of all time for a much longer period than kickers are normally able to do that. And now his leg is still there, seemingly, distance-wise, but he's gone off. So I don't know what the Ravens do because this is costing their season.
Can you hide him on the practice squad?
No, because someone's going to sign him, right? If you cut Justin Tucker today.
Does anybody want a broken Justin Tucker right now? Like, just for fear that
No.
maybe you get him in, a whole Justin Tucker next year?
I think if you have a crappy kicker right now, like San Francisco, I would say signs Justin Tucker tomorrow if he's released today because he's such an upgrade over what they have. Like, there are bad kicking situations.
Because the upside's there. You have to get him back to it. We've seen people come out of this.
There are bad kicking situations in the NFL that I think would still roll the dice that the greatest kicker of all time in a new environment is able to just turn it back on again at some point. But for Baltimore, you're in this really tough spot where if Justin Tucker was any other kicker in the NFL, I think he'd already have been cut now. He would have been cut now.
Yeah.
Like, this game would have done it. Justin Tucker, sorry, you're out of here. But it's not. It's the greatest kicker of all time who has consistently been the one guy that's ignored the rules of kickers, right? Like, for all anybody analyzes these things, Justin Tucker has been Derrick Henry, right? He's been the one guy to whom the rules don't generally apply. And now it's all come back and hit him in one season.
I
genuinely think for the Ravens, it's a really difficult decision now.
He also he has a 50-yarder just before the half. Like, you just don't know when they're going to.
That's what I'm saying. It's
like,
not
2 for 4 is bad, but you just don't know when it's like, oh, no, he's fine this week.
And specifically, it's not like, 152-year-old Morton Anderson, where it's like he's still right down the middle. It's just that the middle only extends 47 yards.
Yeah, you didn't just lose power.
Right. Yeah. So Justin Tucker can still make 50-plus yard kicks. It's just that he's no longer able to control where it goes. Like, his aim is off, and he doesn't know how to fix it.
Would you ever keep 2 kickers on the roster? have a short guy, because teams used to keep 2 kickers. They used to have a kickoff guy, right? When the kickoff was at the 30 and touchbacks were valuable, you'd have the kickoff guy with a big leg, and you'd have the field goal guy. And every now and again, the long kickoff guy would kick the 60-yarder and whatever. I value my roster spots more than that. I don't want to have any kickers, but maybe, because the upside of having Tucker, like a whole Tucker, a proper Tucker, is such a weapon.
Proper Tucker.
But
this whole conversation is why I think kicking should be banned.
Yeah, save it for Wednesday.
The idea that this doesn't happen at other positions.
It's too late. We're already in.
Why does the great kicker just stop being great overnight? It's stupid, and it shouldn't be deciding games, but it is.
Yeah, it's terrible. So anyway, it's 14-12, Eagles. The Ravens got up early, by the way. They're up 9-0.
Yeah.
Then couldn't put any points on the board. Even just the first touchdown felt like Lamar Jackson just kind of like threw it into a sea of 12 people that Mark Andrews found the ball for the 14-yard touchdown.
He beat Ed Reed Blankenship on the play.
Yeah, and then Ed Reed Blankenship out with a concussion after that, missed the end of the game. And the Eagles still played pretty well. So it's 14-12 Eagles at the half. And then Saquon Barkley does it again, waits till the fourth quarter, 8 minutes left, has the 25-yard touchdown. I mean, he did it again in the fourth quarter, running the ball hard, and felt like even after that, every time they handed him the ball, 8 yards, 7 yards, moving the chains and building that MVP case.
I don't understand why the Eagles can't score in the first quarter. They, like a lot of teams, are really good on the script, like the Vikings, right? The Vikings generally, number one, they have the most points of any team in the NFL in the first quarter. But number two, like their script is amazing. The Vikings are great on script, the Kevin O'Connell stuff. Other teams are in that world as well. The Philadelphia Eagles have the lowest amount of points scored in the first quarter of any team in the NFL. And this was another game where it's like they're not showing up in the first quarter. Baltimore's ahead. And then they got into the groove, and it's like it works. I don't understand why this team starts so slowly every week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we kind of called that the game flow. We called the first part of the game flow. Baltimore has those games where they get up, and then they just start leaning on you. But the Eagles handled it. They handled that. Yeah, I don't understand the slow starts either. Because both teams had that element of, fourth quarter ability. But the Ravens have those games where they blow out good teams because it's like they can run it, they can throw it, they can do all these different things. Eagles did it again, though. They did what the Steelers did a couple weeks ago. Everything's tight window. Everything's a little bit more difficult for Lamar Jackson. And impressive effort, again, from Fangio's defense.
Yeah, I think this game went basically exactly as I predicted it to go in the preview show. Like, these are two pretty evenly matched teams. They're very similar, but the big difference is Vic Fangio and Philadelphia's defense is just better than Baltimore's. And as the game wore on, they had more success and made it more difficult for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense. Definitely helped, I think, by Rashad Bateman going out. Whereas as the game wore on, Philadelphia's offense was able to lean on the Ravens defense. That fourth quarter, Saquon Barkley, like they had a sequence where it's like Saquon Barkley run, big gain. Jalen Hurts run, big game on the counter, like the option look where he gives it, keeps it, gives it. The next play was Saquon again. They were able to lean on the Ravens defense and establish that and grind them down.
I've actually been more impressed with the Ravens defense in recent weeks. Hasn't mattered in a couple games against Pittsburgh or in this one. Difference was maybe the kicker. But I've been more impressed with the Ravens defense since they traded for Tre'Davious White. Not sure if that's the exact reason, but the pass defense has been better. Only gave up 118 to Jalen Hurts. Had some big plays by A.J. Brown in there, but pass defense has been better than it was earlier in the year. So Ravens have the ingredients to bounce back from this. But that kicker. Eagles, impressive again, man. This game doesn't get the Game of the Year accolades because there wasn't as much scoring, but it had that, heavyweight battle. Like every possession mattered.
It had fewer points, therefore it wasn't as good.
Therefore it wasn't as good. But it was huge, man. Every possession mattered. Felt like both teams were in third and long a lot. And then it comes down to, hey, I want to credit Saquon. He also discredit him quick. He did fumble, right? When they're running out the clock up 9, he fumbles. And because they recovered it, and he did recover his own fumble.
Right.
Yeah. Because he recovers it, luck of the bounce, you forget about this. But that would have given the Ravens life. And again, the Ravens had the late touchdown.
Quote-unquote clutch situation for the running back, right? Like
It's
the
most important part of the game.
The late drive where you're running out the clock and you're trying to grind them down.
I hope I didn't just kick my mic out.
The worst thing you can do is to put the ball on the ground, and he did that. So that would have been bad. But it's like you tried to throw the interception, but he didn't catch it, so it doesn't count. That would have been bad. But he was generally great in the game. The other thing with the Justin Tucker stuff, by the way, this was the second week in a row where Baltimore has had one of those pretty aggressive fourth down calls in their own territory, 4th and 6 now, or sorry, 4th and 8. Now there's 6 minutes left. You're kind of in a hole. It made sense to go for it anyway, but I do wonder, and this is not a kicking situation. You're in your own half, but I wonder how much of their fourth down aggressiveness is affected by a lack of confidence in Justin Tucker anymore.
Yeah, and you might say, why would that be if you're not even in field goal range? It's because you need touchdowns, right? You can't afford to settle for field goals,
right?
Or at least not close field goals. You have to maximize every single possession. It wasn't as close as the one score, really. I mean, Baltimore had the onside kick late, but Lamar Jackson with a long run and then a touchdown with 3 seconds left for some
it's one of those ones
fantasy stat padding.
You're down multiple scores. You end up getting one of them back, and it makes it look like it wasn't a multiple score game, even though it effectively was.
Anything else on this one?
Other than, I mean, just
another week I want to see Eagles-Lions really badly.
It's setting up for that. I mean, Minnesota will have something to say, maybe Green Bay, but again, we are setting up for a Detroit-Philadelphia matchup in the NFC Championship game. They do look like the two best teams in the NFC.
Fair point, though. I mean, Green Bay and Minnesota are right there with them. I think
Minnesota has the same record as Philadelphia, but it doesn't seem like it when you're talking about the two teams.
The top of it's the streak that Philly's on, right? They started slow. They've won 8 straight. The top of the NFC does look like it's going to be an awesome – I mean, both conferences. Going to be a fun playoff.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.